there you have it, the conclusion of the Serbia-England match, 1-0 to England, goal scored by Jude Bellingham. Uh, an interesting match, especially from Serbia's perspective. I thought going into this match, Serbia would lose 3-1. That was kind of my prediction. That when I was speaking to my family, we all made predictions for the match. Mine was that England was going to win 3-1. Impressed with Serbia. I don't like moral victories, but I'm impressed with defensively. I think how we were able to handle the pressure, and with the attacking forces that England has, we were basically able to minimize everything that they pretty much did, apart from that one goal. I think they had something like two shots on target the entire match, so that's, you kind of check mark that off as well. And I mean, the goal is kind of unlucky, right? I think the problem started right from the pass that went to Bukayo Saka, where Kostic fell asleep a little bit, and then the cross deflects off Pavlovic and goes right on Jude Bellingham's head, and he, slots it into the back of the goal. But really hard to blame anyone on that goal, apart from maybe Kostic a little bit for reacting late and letting Saka make that run. But I thought Bukayo was England's best player in the first half, and things kind of changed, shifted in the second half, where Serbia kind of took the initiative. But the issue that I have with Serbia going forward is everyone is afraid to make a mistake that's going to lead to a goal. And then once we do concede a goal, then all the pressure is kind of off everyone, because now we're down and now we can just almost start playing. And that happens to us a lot when we play far superior teams. And that happened today again, where we concede a goal and then we start to play a little bit better. And it was around the 22nd minute that we started to generate a little bit going forward. In terms of the lineup, I think, you look at Ajkovic and net, that was a surprise. A lot of people thought that Vanja Milinkovic-Savic would still start in goal, even though Rajkovic made 3 or 4 really good stops against Sweden in the last friendly ahead of the Euros. So, and I fully support Pixie in starting Rajkovic, and he had a brilliant stop in the second half off that Harry Kane header that he deflected onto the crossbar. That's an excellent stop, and for us, the goal differential I think means a lot going forward. Losing by only 1 and not 2 or 3 or whatever have you, you can now go into other matches, and with a lot less pressure on, we can't just win the match. We have to score a certain amount of goals to kind of advance further into the group stage, or into the knockout stages. So I think 6 points are imperative going forward. 4, you don't want to mess around with that, because you don't know what the goal differential is going to be like in the other groups. So I think that's very important. In terms of some of the other things in the lineup, I thought Gudel and Lukic are way too defensive in that midfield area. Ilic came on at halftime. He's kind of, I don't even want to say unsung hero, but he's almost like a forgotten guy in this team, and he's still very young. I think he's 21, 22 years of age, somewhere there. But he's kind of a forgotten guy in this team, and I thought he was very cool, calm, and composed under pressure. And going forward, I expect him to start in the matches, whether that means that Lukic doesn't play or Gudel. I think that's the risk that you take. I think Sasha Lukic was a lot better in the second half. Vlahovic played out of position in the first half, which I didn't like. I feel like every time he touched the ball, he made a mistake with it. He sent a ball through that was, intercepted by England, and then that's how they started some of their counterattacks, which is how Kyle Walker had that chance in the first half where he just narrowly missed the back post. So stuff like that you have to avoid. I think Sergey wasn't that great in the first half either, but as the second half approached, and obviously Kostic got injured, which is sad to see, but I think we gained something in Mladenovic, a guy who can whip in a ball. The one thing that I love about Mladenovic is whoever he's playing against, he treats them as if they're in the same level as him. He just really doesn't really care, doesn't really faze him. That's one thing I love about him. Watched him on earlier in his career when he played at Red Star Belgrade, and then he went on to play in Europe. So he's a guy who's not really scared of the moment. And then one of the things I love about him, again, he doesn't really care who he plays against. He's just going to go at 100% all the time. I think the substitution taking off Mitrovic and putting in Luka Jovic and taking off, I think it was Sasha Ilic for Tadic, a bit of a question mark. I wouldn't have taken off Mitrovic just yet. It was the 60th minute. We were putting pressure on England. I would have kept him on for at least another 5 to 7, 8, 9 minutes to see how that would have gone. Because now you take off Mitrovic and you bring in Jovic, who's a different type of player than Mitrovic. You're kind of losing what you had in Mitrovic, and that's the one thing. That's the one mistake I think Pixie made in this match in terms of substitutions taken off Mitrovic. Again, I would have left him on for another 5, 6, 7 minutes and see what you would have got out of him, and then maybe make your adjustments accordingly. But I think taking him off in the 60th minute is a little bit too early. Even if he's a little bit tired, I'm willing to keep him out there for another 5 minutes to see what I can get. Like I said, because he can be a threat in terms of with his height, with his aerial duels, with things like that. Now, another issue that I have with this team feels like everyone's afraid to shoot. There's so many opportunities that we had. Blackbeach was a great example of what happens when you do shoot. When he had a goal, I think it was about 75th minute, and then Pickford made an outstanding stop. But that's what you have to do because you have to test the keeper at some point. And we play this ball around way too much, and we try to walk it into the back of the net, which is something that not a big fan of. I think when you have an open shot, you have to be able to shoot, and that goes for Tadic, that goes for a lot of the other midfielders that we have out there, because Vlahovic is willing to kind of unleash it. And I expected a little bit more from Vlahovic. He had that one really good chance, but again, he played a different position than he usually does. Allegri uses him sometimes. Sometimes he sits on the bench. It's been a weird season for him, and it's miraculous that he was even able to score 16 goals, I think, this season, or 17, or whatever it was. But in terms of the backline was our biggest question with Milenkovic, Veljkovic, and Pavlovic. I thought that they were great. And we kind of neutralized everything that England tried to do. We tried to intercept as many passes as we possibly can and hit them on the counter attack. Thoroughly impressed with the backline because that was the biggest weakness of this team going forward. And hopefully we can keep this going in the match against Slovenia and then Denmark as well. Like I said, we're going to need, I want a full 6 points because I want to be assured that we're going to go on to the knockout stages. And the first match, Slovenia and Denmark playing to a 1-1 draw, I think kind of plays into our hand a little bit. But again, we got to win those matches. Those are going to be very tough matches. They're going to be motivated teams. They're going to come out to win and try to score goals, and we have to be able to neutralize that. And like I said, thoroughly impressed with the backline because the same three guys have played poorly before. Pavlovic is always going to give it to you with effort. I thought he was great in effort segment, in slowing down England. Just thought he was really good. Milenkovic too. So yeah, 1-0 loss. Like I said, I thought it was going to be a lot more from England, but I was impressed with how Serbia handled the pressure, and Birmančević got a run out as well, which is good to see some of the younger players getting an opportunity to play. And yeah, going forward, we just have to stay together, compact, minimal errors. I found a lot of our passes were either behind the strikers or too far ahead, or intercepted by England. Those are things that we have to correct, especially going into the final third when you have an opportunity to score a goal and win a match. So some things we have to work on, but all in all, the 1-0 loss, I think our Euro starts right now, where we go forward against Denmark, where we have to, and Slovenia, and get the 6 points. Let me know what you guys thought of the match in the comments below and what you thought about the performance from the team.